Hi, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Hollie. We own and run a bar in Tenerife called the Sixties Bar, and twice a week we host our own pub quiz nights.
After listening to many other quiz podcasts, we've realised that it's something that people rather like. Here we go with the Pub Quiz Podcast.
So we have 15 questions of general knowledge, 3 short specialist rounds, and then we'll give you all the answers.
So whether you're at home with family or out in the car on your daily commute, you can choose how you keep score. So here we go with the Pub Quiz Podcast. Well, I can't believe that we're already on episode 10 of the Pub Quiz Podcast. Welcome, it's good to have your company.
So, as usual, we've got 15 questions of general knowledge, and we have 3 specialist rounds.
And don't forget, at any time you need to pause this podcast, feel free to do so. Gives yourself a little bit more thinking time. So, let's plough on with our first 15 general knowledge questions.
And here we go then, starting with question number 1. Good place to start, really. Number 1, who discovered penicillin?
Question number 1, who discovered penicillin?
Question number 2, what is the chemical symbol for potassium?
Question number 2, what is the chemical symbol for potassium?
Question number 3, what is meteorology the study of?
Number 3, what is meteorology the study of?
And question number 4, what animals are pearls found in?
Question number 4, in what animal would you find pearls?
Number 5, which planet has the most gravity?
Question number 5, which planet has the most gravity?
Question number 6, how many times did Sean Connery play James Bond?
Question number 6, how many times did Sean Connery play Bond?
Number 7, which cartoon character lives in a pineapple under the sea?
Number 7, which cartoon character lives in a pineapple under the sea?
We used to watch it for hours, didn't we, when our son was small?
Oh gosh, yes.
Question number 8, what is the longest running Broadway show?
Question number 8, what is the longest running Broadway show?
And question number 9, which animal can be seen on the Porsche logo?
Question number 9, which animal can be seen on the Porsche logo?
Question number 10, another car question. What does BMW stand for?
Number 10, what does BMW stand for?
Question number 11, in what year was the first Wimbledon Championship held?
Question number 11, in what year was the first Wimbledon Championships held?
And question number 12, what is the primary ingredient in hummus?
Question number 12, what is the primary ingredient in hummus?
Question number 13, which European nation was said to invent the hot dog?
Number 13, which European nation was said to have invented the hot dog?
And question number 14, which 2 countries share the longest international border?
Number 14, which 2 countries share the longest international border?
And finally, on your general knowledge round, question number 15, John F. Kennedy was assassinated in which city?
Question number 15, John F. Kennedy was assassinated in which city? And that is your 15 general knowledge questions. We're going to move on to your first specialist round.
Okay, so round number 2 is called Who Does What. We're going to give you the names of occupations or hobbies, and we want you to tell us what they are. So without further ado, here's question number 1. What does a cartographer do? Question number 1. What would you do if you were a cartographer? Question number 2. What would you do if you were an ornithologist? Question number 2. What does an ornithologist do? Question number 3. Paleontologist. If you were a paleontologist, what would you do? Question number 3. What does a paleontologist do? Question number 4. If you were a numismatist, what would you do? Question number 4. What does a numismatist do? And finally, number 5. What does an entomologist do? If you were an entomologist, what would you do? Question number 5. What does an entomologist do? Over to you, Eddie, for the next round.
Thank you, Holt. And that was, of course, your first specialist round. Here's your second specialist round, and this is on European car registration codes. And these are the codes that appeared in an oval badge on the back of your car or at the front side of your number plate, dependent on the era that you're looking at them in. So let's start with your first European car registration code, and that is PL. And that's Papa Lima PL. What country would your car come from if you were displaying that on the back of your car? Number 2, SLO. SLO is the car registration code for which country? Number 3, MC. MC, Mike Charlie. What country has the car registration code of MC? Number 4, IRL. IRL. India, Romeo, Lima. IRL. What country would your car come from with that car registration code? And finally, number 5, GBJ. GBJ. I need to know the country your car comes from, if that is your car registration code. So there you go. There are 5 car registration codes for you to solve, and that's your specialist round number 2.
Finally then, we move on to round number 3, specialist round number 3 to be precise, and it's odd one out. Basically, I'm going to give you 4 things, and you've got to tell me which one is the odd one out. Starting with number 1 then, we've got Mr. Bumble, Mr. Bump, Mr. Jelly, and Mr. Worry. One of those is the odd one out. Which one is it? Question number 1, Mr. Bumble, Mr. Bump, Mr. Jelly, and Mr. Worry. Which one of those is the odd one out? Question number 2. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Kidnapped, Casino Royale, and Moonraker. Which one of those is the odd one out? Question number 2. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Kidnapped, Casino Royale, Moonraker. Which one of those is the odd one out? Number 3. Femur, Humorous, Radius, and Ulnar. Which one of those is the odd one out? Question number 3. Femur, Humorous, Radius, and Ulnar. Out of all of those, which one is the odd one out? Moving on, number 4. Tortellini, Frittoli, rigatoni, and penne. Which one of those is the odd one out? Question number 4. Tortellini, frittoli, rigatoni, and penne. Which one is the odd one out? And finally, your last question on today's pub quiz podcast. Number 5. Torquay, Newquay, St Ives, Falmouth. Which one of those is the odd one out? Number 5. Torquay, Newquay, St Ives, Falmouth. Which one of those is the odd one out?
And there are all of your questions for this week's Pub Quiz podcast. We'll be back in a moment to put you out of your misery and give you all of the answers.
So, shall we see how you got on? Don't forget you can contact us at the Pub Quiz Podcast. You can contact us on our email address, which is sixtiesbartenerife@gmail.com. All letters, no numbers.
And also on our Facebook group, which is
Sixties Bar Tenerife. So, here are all the answers. Let's see how you got on. First of all then, general knowledge. Question number 1. Who discovered penicillin?
Penicillin was discovered by Alexander Fleming.
Question number 2. What is the chemical symbol for potassium?
The chemical symbol for potassium is the letter K.
Number 3. What is meteorology the study of?
You're into this.
Oh, yes, it is the study of the weather. I love the weather.
Yeah, the answer is meteorology is the study of the weather.
Number 4. What animals are pearls found in?
You will find pearls in oysters.
Number 5. Which planet has the most gravity?
The planet that has the most gravity is Jupiter.
Number 6. How many times did Sean Connery play James Bond?
James Bond was played by Sean Connery a total of 7 times.
And although I'm not a keen fan of James Bond, he is my favourite Bond.
And the music is great.
Oh, the music's great. I love Bond music. Should have a round on Bond music.
We should.
Question number 7. Which cartoon character lives in a pineapple under the sea?
He lives in a pineapple under the sea. SpongeBob SquarePants. Yes, it's SpongeBob SquarePants, and we promise not to sing anymore.
Question number 8. What is the longest running Broadway show?
Well, a lot of people will probably have answered The Mousetrap, but The Mousetrap is not on Broadway at the moment, so the longest running Broadway show is, in fact, The Phantom of the Opera.
Moving on then, question number 9. Which animal can be seen on the Porsche logo?
The animal that you will find on the logo of Porsche motor cars is a horse.
Question number 10. What does BMW stand for?
I actually didn't know this, but apparently BMW stands for the Bavarian Motor Works. Bavarian Motor Works.
Question number 11. In what year was the first Wimbledon Championship held?
And that was way back in 1877.
Long time ago.
Yep.
But they didn't have a roof over court one back then.
No.
Centre court even.
No.
Question number 12. What is the primary ingredient in hummus?
Hummus consists primarily of chickpeas.
And question number 13. Which European nation was said to invent the hot dog?
Apparently the hot dog was invented in Germany. Yeah.
Question number 14. Which 2 countries share the longest international border?
And those 2 countries are Canada and the United States of America.
And finally, on your general knowledge, number 15. John F. Kennedy was assassinated in which city?
Oh, poor old John Kennedy. He was assassinated in the city of Dallas in Texas.
Let's move on then to your Who Does What round.
So, in your Who Does What round, we asked you, we gave you a description, and you had to tell us what the occupation or hobby was. And number 1 was, what does a cartographer do?
A cartographer draws and produces maps.
Number 2. What does an ornithologist do?
An ornithologist, they study birds.
Number 3. What does a paleontologist do?
A paleontologist studies dinosaurs and fossils.
Number 4. What does a numismatist do?
I can't say that one, they study coins.
Numismatist studies coins. And number 5. What does an entomologist do?
An entomologist, they study bugs. So next up we have European car registration codes. That little badge on the back of your car, we give you the code, you tell us the country. Starting off with PL.
PL stands for Poland.
Nice and easy. Number 2, SLO.
SLO, bit confusing, you might think Slovakia, but it's not. It's Slovenia. Slovenia is SLO.
I think you probably had a 50-50 chance on that one, didn't you?
I think so.
Hope you got it right. Number 3, MC.
MC is for Monaco.
Number 4, IRL.
That's quite an easy one. It's Ireland. Ireland. I never know how to say it. Do you do it with an Irish accent or just say Ireland?
Island.
Ireland. There you go.
There you
Number
go.
4, Ireland.
And finally, number 5, GBJ.
And GBJ comes from Jersey.
So that's all your European car registration codes. Let's see how you got on with Odd One Out. Starting with question number 1. We gave you Mr. Bumble, Mr. Bump, Mr. Jelly, and Mr. Worry. Who was the odd one out?
Well, the odd one out there is Mr. Bumble. He's a character from Oliver Twist, and the others are all Mr. Men.
Question number 2. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Kidnapped, Casino Royale, and Moonraker. Which of those was the odd one out?
And that is, of course, Kidnapped. That is a book by Robert Louis Stevenson, and all of the rest were by Ian Fleming.
Question number 3. Femur, Humerus, Radius, and Ulnar. Which one of those is the odd one out?
Well, the odd one out there is the femur, because the femur is a bone in the leg, and all the others are in your arm.
Question number 4. Tortellini, Frittoli, Rigatoni, and Penne. Which one of those is the odd one out?
And the odd one out is Frittoli. He was an Italian opera singer, and all the rest are types of pasta.
And finally, number 5, Torquay, Newquay, St Ives, and Falmouth. Which one of those is the odd one out?
And it is, of course, Torquay. The rest of them are in Cornwall.
And Torquay, of course, is in Devon.
So there you go. And that's all your answers to all of your questions for episode 10 of the Pub Quiz Podcast.
We hope you've enjoyed today's Pub Quiz Podcast. And don't forget to follow us, rate us, subscribe, and then you will never miss an episode.
And while you're at it, if you could tell your friends where to find us, that would help us to grow the podcast.
Absolutely.
So, for episode 10, that's what they call a wrap. I've been Eddie.
And I've been Holly.
And we'll see you next week for episode 11 on the Pub Quiz Podcast. Bye. So, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Pub Quiz Podcast.
If you wish to get in touch with the show, we have a couple of ways in getting in touch. We have an email, sixtiesbartenerife@gmail.com. That's all letters, no numbers.
Or you can join us on Facebook. Our group there is 60s Bar Tenerife. As our podcast grows, we will obviously be adding more options for you to listen to the podcast and test your general knowledge.
Until next time,
I've been Eddie.
and I've been Holly.